Hi guys, Jenny back again with part 6 of my TWS November mini album, and I'm just inking some clock faces with the vintage photo distress ink, just on the edge of a piece of cardstock that I'm going to make into a tag, and the tag is going to be for the page that I made in the last video. Just randomly stamp the clock faces on the edge of that tag, and now stamping the hands of the clocks. And I started inking the edges with a sponge, but then decided to use the Tim Holtz blending tool to ink the edges there. And I also shaded the inside of that tag lightly with the ink as well. Just to tone down that tag. Now inking the edges on a piece of Once Upon a Time paper, and adhering the lighter part of the tag to that paper. There to give it an edge. And then turned that over and inked the edges again. And then sizing up another piece of cardstock for the underside of that tag. And now just placing a Heidi Swap damask on the edge of this piece of cardstock and sponging the area of the damask dark with the vintage photo, and then lightly shading the rest of the cardstock there. And then using the Tim Holtz edger, distressing the edges of that tag section, and then inking the edges, and now adhering that to the underside of that tag. And that completes the tag. Now just turn the page over and sanding the bottom right hand corner. I previously painted that and used crackling medium, and then used a sealer on it, which made it too shiny to stamp an image. That's why I had to sand it. Now applying some embossing powder and then heat setting it. And now just taking a page out of the alphabet stack, and it was too bright for what I wanted, so I just toned it down using some vintage photo distress ink and cut it to size. Then cut out some brown cardstock and took a piece of Once Upon a Time paper and ripped the edge off it, and then inked the edges. And now just distressing the edges using the Tim Holtz edger, and then adhering that to the brown cardstock. And now attaching the corner pocket piece, and then using Versamark stamping some clock faces on that brown cardstock, and then embossing it using clear embossing powder, and then doing the same for the hands of the clocks. Just brushing away the excess embossing powder, and then heat setting it. Now just attaching an eyelet. And using my Fiskars cutting system, cutting out two different size circles, a light one and a dark one. And you can see I'm still learning to use the Fiskars cutting system. Still haven't perfected it. And now just edging the darker circle with the Tim Holtz edger. And now inking a Stampin' Up stamp with burgundy ink and attaching or stamping it to the lighter coloured circle, and that's the Fresh Cuts stamp by Stampin' Up. Now just inking the edges with the burgundy ink and attaching that lighter colour to the darker colour circle. Now just tearing some random strips of a Once Upon a Time piece of designer paper, and then randomly placing them down on a piece of scrap paper, attaching them with my ATG. And if I had have thought about it at the time, I would have inked all the torn edges of that paper. And just cut it out, and now distressing the edges and sealing it with the Mod Podge. That's just so that the bits of paper don't lift up over time. And then setting that aside to dry. And then when it's dry, just inking the edges with the burgundy Versacolor ink, and then adhering it to the darker, larger circle with my ATG. And then punching a hole with my crocodile and inserting an eyelet and setting it, and that's that tag finished. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the part 7 and final part of this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.